I know many of you are probably wondering my thoughts on Night of Champions, but I must admit, I really don't want to talk all that much about Night of Champions. I watched it for an hour or two, and quite frankly, I felt the pay-per-view was bad. I really did. Even though WWE's product lately has been really good and I've been enjoying it a lot more than usual, it doesn't necessarily equate to a pay-per-view being good. To me, it was filled with lots of matches which didn't really get much build, which kind of seemed pointless, and was filled with bad finishes that were there just to continue on feuds. And and it got to the point where I didn't really care even too much about the main event, which is pretty much the only thing on the show that I actually properly really was invested in, apart from maybe the CM Punk and Heyman thing, which I will address later. I'll give a couple of my thoughts on Night of Champions and different things that happened throughout this review, but really, I don't want to spend too much time talking about it. But I did see what down at Night of Champions and also what happened on Raw, and I must say I like how WWE are handling this fast count situation that they did in the main event. Once again, I love this Triple H character where he brings out sort of reality into WWE, talking about what other sports do when similar things happened in management and stuff. And I like the fact that there is no WWE champion right now. It kind of gives us a direct route to Battleground and another Randy Orton versus Daniel Bryan match, which may have some kind of stipulation. Some say that it might be an Iron Man match of some kind. I'd be all down with that. At least that would take up most of the pay-per-view in a match that I care about. And on Raw, the babyface is helping Daniel Bryan, and I felt that was good. I feel the way WWE have continued on the big angle going forward, it's still very good. It's just a shame that it didn't really equate to a very good pay-per-view, in my opinion, at Night of Champions. Hopefully, Battleground will be a lot better. If you have any thoughts on Night of Champions or what happened, leave them in the comment section below. But right now, I'm going to continue on to my thoughts about Smackdown. So we open up the show with Vicky Guerrero's rather unique introduction of Daniel Bryan, pretty much going out there and saying that he cheated to win the WWE Championship. And, Daniel Bryan came out and defended himself and says that he should still be WWE Champion, etc. But I think we all know what's going on here. It's some kind of conspiracy theory, and Triple H is in on it. And that's how I feel this whole thing is going down. There is no way that Daniel Bryan is actually going to be involved in this. So when he does eventually win the championship, it should be that much better, hopefully. And this is hopefully the way I feel WWE are going with this. Vicky Guerrero announced a 11-on-3 handicap gauntlet match. Get that if you will, featuring The Shield versus the superstars that defended Daniel Bryan, including Daniel Bryan on Raw. So from a storyline standpoint, that kind of did make sense from what happened on Raw. What happened later? Oh boy! So after defeating 3 Total Divas at Night of Champions, AJ Lee beat Naomi with Natalya on commentary. And, I do question, who is supposed to be the heel in this whole feud between the Divas and the Total Divas? Is AJ Lee the heel? Are the Total Divas the heel? I'm kind of confused as to who the heel and who the good guy and who I'm supposed to be kind of rooting for here. Because I'm kind of rooting for AJ Lee, not because I like AJ Lee, it's because I can't stand what they're doing at Total Divas, even though I understand exactly why they're doing this cross-promotion. And I guess it looks like WWE are going now with an AJ Lee and Natalya feud. Okay, I guess you don't really have that many credible Divas to feud with AJ Lee and Natalya. I guess if you build her up, could be one of them. But in my opinion, this whole thing is there to get AJ Lee onto Total Divas and try and do something there with the Divas Championship and cross-promote it with WWE. That's really all this is all about. It seems like ever since returning, Santino has been getting a rather interesting push. I mean, he's beaten the Money in the Bank holder, Damien Sandow, and now a former World Champion and Money in the Bank winner, Jack Swagger. And it looks like they may have some plans for Santino down the line. I don't know what they are, but looks like WWE are trying to build this guy up for something when he beat Jack Swagger on Smackdown this week. So after Night of Champions, it looks like the new Paul Heyman guy is Ryback. Oh boy! And Ryback pretty much helped Paul Heyman to pin CM Punk. And I could look at this in 2 ways, and you could too. The first way is, at least it's some kind of direction for Ryback, as he's been pretty directionless ever since he pretty much beat Chris Jericho with that stupid roll-up pin, which was stupid in my opinion. I can either look at it that way, it's giving Ryback some direction, giving him some relevancy being a Paul Heyman guy, I guess. Or I can look at it the other way, in that I don't care about this Ryback, so why the fuck should I care about him being the Paul Heyman guy and going on to feud with CM Punk, which... Do I care about all that much? No, I'd rather just see CM Punk and Paul Heyman, but there you go. So you can look at it in either one of those 2 ways, and that really determines what you felt of the finish to Night of Champions between CM Punk and Paul Heyman in the handicap match, where Curtis Axel faced Kofi Kingston in an opening match, which is kind of random, against Kofi Kingston, whatever. And, oh yeah, Ryback also beat a jobber. I liked Randy Orton's promo segment this week. I don't say that much about Randy Orton, but ever since he turned heel, his promos just seem a lot more natural, in my opinion. No, he talks about how he's locked away the angry side of him for the last few years because he thought that's what the people wanted. And then he got the opportunity to kick Miz's ass in front of his badly acted parents. And now we're seeing more of the Orton, which I personally would like to see. More of the vicious, relentless, angry Randy Orton, which, like I said, is the kind of Randy Orton I want to see, and it's the kind of Randy Orton that I think could be effective in promos. So this Randy Orton promo, in my opinion, was really good. This is more of the kind of thing I want to see from Randy Orton down the line, and I'm glad this is the case with WWE going forward with the Randy Orton character. So we had this 11-on-3 handicap gauntlet match featuring the Shield, and you know, I'm just going to skip to the ending of this. This was kind of weird. Your opinion on this really depends on how much you value storylines over wrestling and everything like that. And after Darren Young came out, each of them had their hope spots and eventually got beaten by the numbers. But what was interesting about this is, while RVD was pretty much going to beat the Shield, Triple H came out to stop the match and bring Vicky Guerrero to his office, you know, kind of telling her off. And you know, I wasn't really expecting this. I mean, to be honest, I was thinking this match was going to go with the rest of the show, and all of a sudden, I see Triple H coming out, and it's like, wow, I'm genuinely surprised. I didn't actually expect this, which is good. WWE keeping me guessing about this whole thing, and Triple H just coming out of nowhere and, you know, pretty much telling Vicky Guerrero off for creating a hostile working environment and saying, you know, you do this to 10 people, you get 10 more people coming in, and then 10 more, then you have a revolt on your hands. You know, that's some good stuff for this storyline, and Triple H pretty much makes the Shield versus the Usos and Daniel Bryan in the main event of the show. Triple H has some good old fair competition for Zack Ryder and Justin Gabriel, who couldn't get involved in that 11-on-3 gauntlet match, and he decided to give them a match against the Wyatt family. Like I said, good old fair competition by Triple H there, and the Wyatt family pretty much kicked Zack Ryder and Justin Gabriel's ass, as they should definitely do. And my question really is not really to do with Zack Ryder and Gabriel, as I don't really give a shit about any of those two. I'm just wondering where they're going to go with the Wyatt family. And it seems like the only direction they're having right now is to sort of beat jobbers and be involved where and in bits and drabs until Kane comes back, really. And I just wonder when that's going to happen and when the Wyatt family are actually going to feel kind of relevant again. Because it feels like they built the Wyatt family up and now they've got no direction. And they're kind of like, it's kind of getting harder and harder each week to kind of care about these guys now. I just want to talk briefly here about the business proposition that Stephanie McMahon gave Dusty Rhodes. I felt this was an interesting segment. I felt this was definitely worth a watch. So I watched the video package they had on Smackdown. And basically, Stephanie McMahon gave Dusty Rhodes the choice of giving either Cody Rhodes or Dustin Rhodes their job back. I thought that would be an easy decision. But Dusty Rhodes didn't want to choose between his sons. And so he told her to go to hell. And my highlight here is Bitch Steph. Bitch Stephanie McMahon, in my opinion, is another one of those characters that's just awesome. You know, she makes Big Show knock out Dusty Rhodes because Big Show is broke and she can tell him what to do, whatever the fuck she wants him to do. And this is good stuff. And it's not because of Big Show and his blubbering mouth and Stephanie McMahon's character. It's because all this is circulating around Cody Rhodes. And in my opinion, Cody Rhodes, my boy, by the way, I know I don't really say it that much, but he is still my boy. I've still got his shirt. I'm still his #1 fan, by the way, Nature Girl. Cody Rhodes, in my opinion, from this is going to come back into some kind of star. Maybe not a main event star, but some kind of star for the WWE. When he comes back, he's going to get one massive pop from the crowd when he returns. So after Night of Champions, where Rob Van Dam got the DQ victory over Del Rio because he didn't want to let go of the arm breaker, getting himself disqualified but keeping the championship, Triple H for Battleground, which is in 2 weeks apparently, gave RVD his rematch against Del Rio, which we kind of must have all expected from that finish that they had. And you know, and you had Del Rio attack RVD backstage, you know, forward on the story, and then Del Rio defeated R-Truth. You know, it was sort of standard continuation for this feud, which really doesn't feel all that relevant right now. I just hope that with a clean finish, their match will feel better at Battleground, and I hope this feud does end at Battleground. So on Raw, the Usos became the #1 contenders again, I believe, and after the Shield had that filler match with Primetime Players at the Night of Champions, at least the Usos and the Shield are kind of interacting, which the Primetime Players and the Shield never really did. So at least they're kind of, you know, building some kind of feud between the Usos and the Shield, and they were involved in the main event of the show, which I guess when you have the Shield is rather easy to do because they're tag team champions and they're featuring the US champion, even though he doesn't really have any kind of feud apart from maybe Dolph Ziggler, which we don't really know what's happening because of Ziggler getting punished right now. So at least the tag team titles are getting featured in the main event of SmackDown. As for this match, you know, it's a standard Raw main event match. Daniel Bryan gets really good reactions, and he got a very good reaction once again as he beat Dean Ambrose in this match. So I don't really have too much to say about this match. Daniel Bryan, once again, the babyfaces being the Usos, once again end the show on top, much like they did on Raw. So, be interesting to see what they're going to do going forward. I mean, I'm really liking right now seeing someone different at the top in Daniel Bryan and not John Cena, even though John Cena was never really on Smackdown. It's just good to see someone else at the top, something different. It just feels very refreshing. And, you know, it kind of feels like the Smackdown of old when you're seeing the big angle from Raw. Also, not quite as prominently, but also being featured decently on Smackdown as well. When was the last time we saw the big angle from Raw also featured like a big angle on Smackdown as well? It's kind of like the brand extension. Doesn't mean any more right now, kind of like the old days, doesn't it, people? Overall, I thought this Smackdown was pretty decent. I mean, it wasn't an out-of-this-world show or anything like that. It wasn't a terrible show either. I can stand Smackdown a lot more than other shows, a.k.a. TNA and Raw. But at least on Smackdown now, the one issue I always have with Smackdown was the storyline continuance really wasn't there. But now on Smackdown, you're having some pretty decent storyline continuation, especially seen as the whole WWE seems to be revolving around this one angle with the corporation now versus the babyfaces, etc. So they're doing a decent job continuing that, not just on Raw, which you expect good continuation from with these big angles, but also some decent continuation on SmackDown as well, which means SmackDown is now a show to watch, in my opinion. You know, if you want to see some storyline continuance, you can now watch SmackDown rather than just seeing match like SmackDown used to be with minimal storyline continuation. So give me your thoughts on this edition of SmackDown. Maybe drop a comment on Night of Champions as well if you want, even though I didn't really talk about it too much in this review. Let me know your thoughts on everything WWE if you want to as well. But right now, I'm going to go back to play GTA because that game is fucking awesome. Thank you very much for watching this review. Goodbye.